What's up guys, Zolly Effect here, back at it again with another video. And now for today's video, we got a 4K review of The Cell by Arrow Video. For The Cell, I was actually pretty excited because I hadn't seen it in a very long time, but I did watch it as a kid, and I was curious on how Arrow Video would handle the transfer. Before we get into that review though, let's go ahead and take some close-ups of this because there are a few cool things inside, and then we'll get on to the 4K review. As you can see, they have some pretty cool artwork in the front, showcasing J-Lo and her going in, and if we flip it, you can see that it has just a load of text. It displays all the special features that are inside and a quick little summary of the movie. Nothing going on crazy. We're gonna take the slipcover off. All right, kind of the same deal on the back. You have some purple lettering with a black background and displaying all the cool things that you can find inside, including special features and different ways to watch the movie. The front displays this iconic scene with the eyeball in the middle. It's pretty cool, pretty sleek, very nice indeed, 4K. The spine, not much going on, just another picture of the same one that's in front, but it says The Cell, and it has a little bit of a cool glaring effect. Now when you open it up inside, you got a poster actually. Now if we go over the poster, big old poster. Now Arrow Video includes these in all of their releases for the most part that I've gotten, and I think they're really cool, but what I don't like is that, you know, they put them in a square, so there's no reason I would hang this up because you see all of the squares that it was folded into. Kinda not my cup of tea. It's pretty cool though, and I'm glad that they included it, but it'd be really cool if they found out a way to deliver these posters without there being squares, because I could honestly hang up some of these. Some of these movies are really great. So besides that, you got the inside, as you can see, just 2 discs, and I'll have some close-ups of some B-roll so you guys can see that close up. But yeah, it just shows 2 discs in here, one with the cover from the front and then one with the cover on the back. Now, unfortunately, when I put disc 2 in, it didn't work on my 4K player. I don't know why. I'm assuming maybe it's because it's an old 4K player and maybe it's time for an upgrade. But it was kind of bummy because I was really excited to see some of the special features that were on that disc. One of the things being a different version of the movie, which is represented in a 1/7 aspect ratio, so like fills up your whole screen, and it looks really cool. So I was excited to see that, but I couldn't get it to work. I don't think that's on Arrow Video though. I think that's just like my Blu-ray is really old and it might be time for an upgrade. So that was exciting to happen, kind of a bummer. They also include this little booklet showcasing just some like behind the scenes, and the art's kind of cool. Has J-Lo looking down like a square, but that's pretty much it when it comes to the Arrow Video release. They got you a nice little card here with an Arrow Video like subscription, but all in all, pretty cool release. I expect nothing less from an Arrow Video release. And yeah, as Arrow Video goes, it's pretty standard to what Arrow Video does. All right, so now that we looked at all the cool things inside, let's go ahead and get on to my movie review. This movie was definitely filmed on actual film, and the restoration shows that for sure. There is a lot of grain in this movie, especially when you get into the parts of his mind and you have some of those darker scenes with a lot of contrast. But when you are like in the normal world, there's actually some really nice detail. There isn't a lot of grain. There's just like a nice layer of grain where you can tell this was actually on film. But for the most part, it looks really clean on those parts of the movie. It isn't until you get inside the mind that you have more of a, I would say, different atmosphere, a lot more darker tones, more grungier. And you can definitely tell that this one's a little bit on the muddier side. There's some noise for sure on the darks, and in the shadows, there's definitely some noise. In my perspective, it kind of looks a little nasty and doesn't really look as fine as I would like it, especially on like a 4K. I would say when you're above ground, you are getting a more true to life color grade. It's a little subdued. There's not a lot of saturation. There's only a handful of parts where it shows blood that you really get some popping. In the beginning scenes, you get balanced skin tones, natural colors, and it's not overly stylized here. Nothing pops too much, but there's a noticeable improvement in clarity over previous releases. Now, when you get into the mind area, you're definitely gonna get a lot more interesting shots. There's gonna be a lot more cool things with really high amounts of detail that really shine in the movie. There's things in the dungeon or behind some glass walls that look really, really cool. You can see all the dirt on the walls. You can see all the little imperfections. And overall, it just has a really nice layer of detail. But it's really cool because some of these scenes really just feel like a painting. There's a scene in particular where J-Lo's coming down for like the second time in the mine, and she's in a red flowy dress and she's floating down, and the dog comes up to her. That whole sequence is really, really nice. You get some really dark dark inky blacks in there. The dog really pops with his white fur coat, and it just overall just really looks like a moving painting, and it was definitely a standout like moment in the movie. A lot of the scenes in this movie that really stand out definitely feel like paintings over the composition of the shot, the way that they choose to light things and have their shadows. It just overall looks like a painting come to life, which I think is a really cool thing to have when you have a 4K movie. All the iconic costumes that are in this movie look really good with a really huge high layer of detail. In particular, you know, the huge purple cape, that looks really cool. You can almost just feel like you can touch the silk on that one. There's a portion where he comes down with like a snake kind of outfit, cape kind of thing, and you can see all the little scales. It looks really cool. Definitely one of the standout moments when it comes to texture. Also, when he's wearing his devil outfit and he has like, you know, black horns and stuff like that, white pale skin, you can see like the actual body paint. He doesn't really look like per se like just naturally white. You can definitely see the different flakes of paint. You can see the different little furriness things that they put on his back. Overall, you can just really see all the detail in these costumes. And I would say that's a plus because some of these costumes are really intricate and hold a lot of detail, and they're really cool to look at in 4K. Another really cool notable part for HDR is when Vince Vaughn goes into the cell for the first time and you get all these early 2000s animations. And you would think that since they were kind of made in the 2000s that they would be like not sharp and just kind of ugly, but it's actually completely the opposite. They did a really good job at like up-resing the texture on these things. It looks super crispy clear. Some probably like the most crispiest part of the movie, honestly. They just have like a rainbow of color in these portions, and it really does make your TV pop. And it was probably one of the cooler things to look at besides when you get into the cell itself. Really cool part to really look out for. The highlights on this movie are super bright and eye-piercing. Seems to be like Arrow Video's go-to thing when it comes to highlights, but they look really good on this movie, and they definitely stand out. So one of the cons of this movie is sometimes when you're in the cell, you get this overly stylized color grade, and I feel like that they crush the blacks just a little bit too much, and it just overall just looks like really contrasty and doesn't look good at all. Super brown, super dark. I would say that it might have been my TV settings, so if you have like your contrast pretty high, maybe go into your contrast settings and kind of lower them, and it might combat this a little bit and maybe bring out some of the textures that are lost in the contrast. Now, I personally already kind of lowered some of my stuff, but I was still getting just a very heavy color grade, and I think it was on purpose. And I think it was like a style choice, but overall I really don't feel like those parts look that good on the 4K, and they kind of stand out to be kind of an eyesore. I could definitely appreciate this movie being on 4K because it's not a 4K movie that you would normally see. It'd be something that Arrow Video would have to make because some of the bigger studios aren't going to be restoring some of these movies because they're more of like a cult following. And it's just really cool to have such a very high quality version of a movie like this. So if you are a fan, I would definitely recommend picking up The Cell just off of 4K presentation alone because it's definitely leagues above the Blu-ray and DVD release. For audio, we have the DTS-HD master, and it sounds pretty good overall. It's no Dolby Atmos, but it sounds really nice. Definitely a very atmospheric track, especially when you get into the cell area in particular. You can hear a lot of things in the background. When people talk, there is like this echo to their voices. It sounds really nice, fills up the whole room. Now for the special features, you do get a load of new special features, including interviews that they did for just Arrow Video. I did get to see some of the cinematographer one, and I was pretty wowed because I normally don't really watch special features as much as I should. Never really just get the chance to do it, but I went ahead and watched like half of the interview that they did with the cinematographer, and it's crazy because they actually give you like almost like a feature-length interview. It's like a 45-minute interview, never before like ever seen before. They did it recently, so it's actually filmed with 4K cameras, and it looks really high quality, and I was pleasantly surprised on just how much work went into the interview itself. And they're getting a lot of cool things, a lot of insider tricks that they did, such as like bouncing light off mirrors, and how you went through this whole thing of needing like a specific type of glass that wouldn't heat up when you had the light. And overall, it was just a really cool addition to the movie. And they also have a 2K master of a full screen version of this movie, which is pretty cool, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because, like I said, my Blu-ray didn't read it for some reason. It said did not support. I don't know what the hell that is. But yeah, I was actually pretty bummed out because I love full screen movies, and I think this movie could have really looked awesome on a full screen, you know, just kind of master. So yeah, loads of special features, a lot of good content on this disc, but I would recommend it if you're just trying to pick it up for like picture quality and you love the movie. I would recommend it highly if you're trying to look at some new special features. And overall, if you just want to see this movie on a new 4K screen and you want to see this movie updated, I would definitely recommend picking this up. I am very happy with the 4K, and I think that's all I have for this review. Really, really good 4K. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen the movie on 4K. I would love to know what you guys thought about the movie and your experience. Sorry about not getting so many reviews out this week. I've been super busy, but I made sure to take some time out today to do some reviews for you guys, and hopefully you guys keep watching them. And yeah, I'll keep making them. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'll see you on the next movie review. Doses.